So today I've decided I'm going to try and back up my prediction about the Maple Leafs this year based on statistics and who they picked up and who they lost and stuff like that. Please keep in mind this is from a statistical point of view. Um, Plus, this is also under the impression that Kadri and Franson will miss the start of the season because they still don't have contracts. And obviously one of them's gonna have to go because, well, better resign Colton Moore first. But I digress. So last year, so I did some. Let's start this off. First reason, their luck score was through the roof. This is I'll link to the stat in the description. Please note that I did not make these up. Uh, Someone else did. But really, the luck score is a combination of injuries, PDO, which is shooting and save percentage, special teams index, which is power play plus penalty kill, and records in one-goal games in regulation and overtime games. And the Leafs just beat out Pittsburgh for the top luck score in the league. And you look at the top 10, there was only, I think, one team that was not a playoff team. Check that, too, Columbus and Edmonton. And Edmonton, really, it's because they won so much in overtime. But yeah, links to the statistics will be in the description. Again, I didn't make it. Second off, let's see who they've dumped and who they've picked up. So let's see. Kadri and Franson, they'll basically miss the start of the year. They've lost Kadri Franson, Clark MacArthur, Mikhail Grabovski, Matt Fratton, Leo Komarov, who signed in the KHL. I believe he went back to Dynamo. Mike Kostka, who I believe is still a free agent. Ryan O'Byrne, who signed overseas. That's 8 players, and their points added all together, 141 points need replacing. So who'd they pick up to try and back that up? Well, you obviously have Paul Ranger, who hasn't played in the NHL in 3-4 years, something like that. And then you have David Clarkson, who put up 24 points last year, and Dave Bolland, who put up 14 points. That's 38 points. So that's a net loss of 103 points. Suddenly those one-goal games won become losses. And those one-goal games you lose become 2, 3, 4-goal losses. And then you look at the Bernier trade. Last year, they needed a career year from James Reimer, who put up something like a .930 save percentage. I'll have to double check my math. But I think it was like .929. Career year from him, and that was enough to get them to the playoffs. And then they go and trade for a backup that's played 82 career games and has never shown anyone a damn thing that he can do on his own. You know why? Because he played behind the Kings for so long. The Kings, they're sort of an elite team now because they sort of won something called a Stanley Cup. And they went to the conference finals last year. And when Reimer was needed rest, Ben Scrivens filled the void very nicely. It just doesn't make sense. And then you already have no forward depth whatsoever. And then you go and trade Matt Fratton, who had 13 points last year. Yeah, it's only 13 points, but still, that's 13 points that they, I guess, replaced with Boland's 14. I don't know. Then you look at some of the re-signings they had to make. All right, they signed Drew McIntyre to a two-way. He'll probably never see the NHL unless something happens and both Reimer and Bernier get hurt. Paul Ranger, although he was on an AHL deal, same with McIntyre. They were both on AHL deals, and they made them into two-way contracts. Let's see here. Carl Gunnarsson, Mark Frazier. Those were signings that had to happen. I think the one on Gunnarsson was a bit high, but still, he was on the minute munching D pair of Phaneuf and Gunnarsson. And well, they sort of need some defensive depth to try and take the the weight off of just that one pair who played like 30 minutes a night or something ridiculous like that. Then you have two completely useless players, although one, I wouldn't say he's totally useless, but he's still kind of useless. Colton Orr, who's all-out useless. He's a goon, hands of stone, can't skate, only good at being a goon, and he's aging. He's 31. And Fraser McLaren. Now, I could understand keeping one goon around. I would have kept McLaren. If I were the general manager, I would have kept McLaren and sent Colton Orr a pink slip. Because I guess Dave Nonis doesn't understand. The enforcer role has changed today. To be an NHL enforcer and have a job, you basically have to have some sort of goal-scoring ability. You look at a guy like Sean Thornton, for example. And yeah, he only puts up like a handful of goals a season. Even, I think Anthony Peluso had more points last year than Orr. And he played way less games. Let me just double-check that. Because Peluso had 2 points last year. He was a waiver claim by the Jets. Nope, he had half as many points as Orr did, but in like a quarter of the games. Not even a quarter. And the Jets have gone out and said they want him to be a Thornton-type player. I can see that happening. I mean, when he was playing for us, I personally liked him a lot. I mean, you look at the just old-school goon kind of guys. I mean, you have Orr, and I can't really name a single guy in the NHL right now that's just a goon. But you look at the penalty minute leaders from last season. Let me open that up. Windows 8, stop being so wonky. But you look at the penalty minutes leaders from last year, all of them have some sort of hockey playing ability. And then there's that one albatross. Right? Report penalties and minutes. Let's see. Orr led in penalty minutes with 155. Then you have Chris Neal, who has some sort of hockey playing ability. Mike Brown, I have no idea why he's still around. Konopka, Clooney, Crombie, Prust can play. Steve Ott can play. Jared Boll can actually play sometimes. Frazier. How the hell did he get up there? Ryan Clough. Oh. And then you get deeper in the top 20. Evander Kane. Wayne Simmons. To a lesser extent, Zach Ronaldo. These guys have an iota of hockey playing ability. Kane, I think, is on the verge of superstardom. Of course, I'm a bit of a homer, but that's just how I see it. And then you have, the useless goons like Orr. McLaren, I would have kept McLaren because he's younger, can skate better, probably has more overall upside. He's just not as good at fighting. But you look, again, at your Thorntons. You need a player who can fight, not a fighter who can't play. These useless goons, the enforcer role has changed. Let's just say that. It's changed, or is basically useless. But this isn't about ranting about how useless Colton Orr is. I actually just traded him from one of my sim teams, which is in a rebuild, by the way. I have two. One won the Prez Trophy, the other is rebuilding. For Riley Nash, which I think is a great trade for me. But still, to be an enforcer today, you have to have either decent playmaking ability, good penalty killing ability, or score a couple goals in you a year. I don't really understand what the Leafs did this offseason. They traded away they basically got rid of 141 points. Keep in mind that's considering Kadri and Franson will likely miss the start of the year, and gaining only 38. That's a big net loss. And either they're counting on young guys to step up into that key role, or they're gonna try and move Kadri or Franson, and hope for a good return. I mean, yeah, they have a decent amount of cap room now, but that's still not enough to re-up these two. They're up-and-coming stars, and when you're snubbing them for a ridiculous contract to a guy who scored 20 goals once, his 30-goal season is his Clarkson's 30-goal season is his only 20-goal season to date. Not to mention he's probably in his decline. Two goons, one of whom is totally useless, the other is slightly useless. And then, probably the least important two RFAs. Again, I think, and their division's tougher this year. And then you start looking to the Metro Division to see if they can try and sneak in as a wild card there. But you have Washington, who replaced Ribeiro with Grabowski, which I think is great for them, because Grabowski is younger, probably slightly better. The Rangers, with arguably the best goalie in the world, definitely the best in the Eastern Conference. Islanders, up and coming. Blue Jackets, up and coming. Penguins are just a superpower. And the Flyers, kind of, sort of. This is not a playoff team, this Toronto team. And I seriously doubt David Clarkson will get 20 goals this year. But that's just me. They've done nothing but downgrade and lose. And if this team makes the playoffs, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna be like, this is wizardry. But anyway, that's it for this sort of rant. I hope I wasn't too repetitive and actually made some sense. So yeah, bye.